Hashem Nasu Nitzliach, Yisroel Kol Tzadikim,
81-5213.
Hashem, in connection to all the true Tzadikim, Befrat Rabbeinu HaKadosh Rabbeinu Nachman Ben Fega, Zechutam Yigan Aleinu Al Kol Yisrael, Amen. Okay, so we're mamish approaching the holy Chag of Shavuos, and there's a lot that's contained in this Chag. You know, it says by the Talmid of Baal Shem Tov, when they would hear the Maggid of Mezrich speak, they used to hear thunder and lightning. And they went outside, and there it wasn't a storm. So they said that they tapped in. They were zocha because of the kedusha. They were zocha to tap in to the effects of the Har Sinai that takes place every single year, even though that we don't see it. It's called Zman Matan Toratenu, and it's not like Natan Toratenu. It's that it's constantly it's in process, like it's being given every single year on Shavuos. There's a Kabbalah Satorah that's taking place. All our neshamas are being exposed to the revelations of Anochi Hashem Elokecha. So we need kalim how to receive this light, to enter into this Yom Tov without any idea. Okay, Shavuos, I'll have like a blintz, it's nice, but we want to be able to come in with a little machshava to be able to grasp what's going on. So let's do a little bit. First, we'll start with Lakutei Eitzes. Okay, it says Moadei Hashem Shalosh Regalim. Let's go to Beis. It says over here on the first page. So Shalosh Regalim Moadei Hashem Bet.
In the first page.
Yeah. The bottom of the page. Okay. You have only one line there?
Yeah.
Ki'az. Let me see one second. Oh, no, I think this is a little cut off. Yeah, I think the edge is a little cut off. It starts from over here in the middle.
Gotcha.
And you'll see if whatever you could grasp. Okay. Ikar hasimcha hi min ha-mitzvos. Rabbi Nachman says in the Kutz Maran, in Torah Lamed, that the main simcha that a person can tap into in this world is through mitzvot. It's through mitzvahs. There's a lot of different simchas out there, but we're talking about the real emes simcha. The ikar hasimcha hu belev. The main place, the makom that simcha is felt, is expressed, is in the heart. Ki kol chad kefum madam mishar belibe. Everyone according to the measure in his heart, how much space he has to tap in, how much of a kli he's made in order to fathom in his heart gedulat habora, the greatness of Hashem, v'yechudo v'achduto, and his uniqueness, his oneness, yitbarach shemo. Ra'ui lo lismoach ma'od bechol mitzvah mitzvah she'oseh. It's very befitting to be joyous with every single mitzvah we do. The breaths that we're singing, like in Eretz Yisrael, with regarding the mitzvah, let's see, tefillin. Imata hayodea mazeh tefillin. Imata hayodea mazeh tefillin. Haya sameach veroked me'vesrim shana. You would dance for 120 years. If you knew what tefillin was, how precious it was, it's befitting to dance for 120 years. We have no idea, mamish, with a little tenua, with a movement towards anything in kedusha, right? We don't know what that causes, right?
When he says each and every mitzvah, is there no mitzvah that has an aspect of sadness to it? Is it every?
One time they saw one of the tzaddikim, one of the Hasidic rabbis, I forgot which one. I think I know which one, but I'm not sure. It says that they saw him on Tisha B'Av, and when people were looking, he did a little jiggle. What's going on? It's Tisha B'Av. So one of the Chassidim asked, he said, the Rebbe is in Tisha B'Av, is in the mitzvah to be sad. So he says, it's a mitzvah to be sad. We have to do every mitzvah of simcha. Right? He's like, mamish, you should know, in atzvus, sadness and depression, that has no area in Judaism. You know what I mean? Like Enochanami, there's an Indian of tikkun chatzos and to sit down, and Breslovers were famous for that. They asked a big misnagid that lived across the street from Reb Nassim, and they asked him, they were very back then. It was very controversial. Still is a little bit, but Back then it was mamish like fire. If you read the story, if you read the book through fire and water, it's a great read. It's mamish like, you'll be amazed what was going on. There was a misnagid that lived across the street from Parnassa, and they asked him, "You lived across the street. You're facing his house. Why don't you throw a rock? Why don't you, It's mamish like real hatred." So then he said, "You know what stopped me?" He said, "Every night I heard Parnassa, like mamish, like late at night, 2 a.m, saying Tikkun Chatzos." He sat on the floor, he would cry about the Beis HaMikdash. He said, from the sound of his voice crying over the Beis HaMikdash being lost, he said, "I didn't have the heart to throw anything at him. I couldn't." You know what I mean? So, but nevertheless, even though there's such a makom, and also in Breslov that there's a big inyan we know to take time out of a day, if one can do an hour, which is the Rebbe's advice, that's great. The hour doesn't have to be an hour straight. You could break it up in time, right? It could be little parts of the day, but to take time to pour your heart out in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and sometimes that involves shivrun leiv, brokenheartedness, but never sadness. And the difference is between to be brokenhearted and sadness is lamashal. It's like brokenhearted is that, let's say, a person upset his father. His father's very upset at him, and he feels broken about that, but he wants to do better now. He wants to show his Abba that that's it. From now on, we're good. Depression, sadness, atzvus is like giving up. Yehusha, forget about it. I messed up, I screwed up, forget about it. It's over. There's no point. That has no makom. That, it says in the Zohar, is from the Nachash HaKadmoni. The Zohar Kadosh says that was his contribution to mankind. Besides other things, the Yetzer Hara that we have, but that's the main weapon of the Yetzer Hara. So a person is befitting to be besimcha ma'od ma'od, and we have to psych ourselves up. When we do a mitzvah, we have to say, this is great, this is huge, right? Like the Berditchever, he was up the whole night, right, to do lulav and etrog. He was like, mamish excited, he wanted to, and once came time for Alot HaShachar, I didn't see the Chassidim saw all of a sudden hear a crash because the etrog was behind like a glass. Yeah, it was like on a fancy thing, and he was just staring at it. He was like, he couldn't wait to. So all of a sudden they hear a crash, and he's like, I think his hand was cut. He's like bleeding. He's like full of such, ecstasy in serving Hashem that like nothing in the world could come close to that. The simcha that's generated from doing a mitzvah, really potentially, right? So it's befitting to be very besimcha, shezoche lasod rotzon Hashem yisbarach, because you're zoche to do the will of the Master of the universe, the same Creator that keeps everything in existence right now. As we're sitting here, you're zoche to do a mitzvah, to follow His path. It's on the same level as vayehi or, let there be light, that ukshartem lot al yadecha, to put the tefillin on your arm. You're in the same channel. It's an amazing feeling. You're in line with creation. You have such a permission to be joyous. Hayachid, hakadmon, hanitzchi, something, right? Boris Barach, that he's unique, that he's eternal. Yitzbarach Shemo lenetzach. Ve'ikar hasimcha shel kol mitzvot she'osim b'chol hashana. You should listen to this. And from all the mitzvot that we've done the whole entire year, all the mitzvot that we did, all the simcha, like steiging, like learning, morning kollels, this, that, the davening, anything that we've done, tehillim, right? All these things, it all gets gathered within a certain area in the year. B'chol hashana mitkapsim yachad b'shalosh regalim, and the 3 regalim that we have: Pesach, Sukkot, and Shevout. 3 times. The three regalim of the year. It gets gathered, right? V'zeu hasimcha shel Yom Tov. This is the simcha of Yom Tov. Why is it such a feeling? You come into Yom Tov, it's like, wow, chag. It's so great. Why? What's so great? It's all the aroma of the simcha of everything that you've done throughout the year.
Isn't it the same thing with Shabbat?
It's now coming into.
I heard something like none of your mitzvahs go up until Shabbat, and then God dances with your mitzvah when you get the.
I haven't heard this description about the Shabbat per se.
Okay.
The world wouldn't be in existence if it wasn't for Shabbat. That's for sure.
No, but you
it says in the Zohar Kodesh the world would return to Tohu, but this description, like, there's something unique about Chag, about Yom Tov itself, with regarding Simcha. Like it says, V'samachta b'chagecha, right? It's a unique thing. There's a certain extra level of Simcha there. Even though you're right, the Rebbe says on Shabbat, a person should be b'simcha ma'od ma'od.
No, but you know what I'm saying though? Like the thing where he says about like your mitzvah don't go up until Shabbat, and then he dances with your mitzvah or something.
It could be. Maybe you have to show me inside, maybe, just to remember. Ki oz mitkabetz umitor hasimcha. Why on Yom Tov? Ki oz mitkabetz umitor hasimcha kedosha azot shel kol hanekudos tovos shel kol hamitzvos. That's when then all the nekudos tovos, top of the next page, shel kol hanekudos tovos shel kol hamitzvot sheosim b'chol hashana. It all gets gathered within that time. V'tzorach kol echad li'itgaber ma'od la'amshich al atzma simcha kedosha azot. The person has to be a gibor. He has to be strong in order to allow himself to draw this simcha upon himself, this holy simcha, shel mitzvot, shehu simchat Yom Tov bechol hashana kula, which is the simcha. This simcha of Yom Tov is the simcha of the whole entire year, right? Mikol shekin, v'kol shekin b'Yom Tov kodesh ba'atzmo, right? That how much more so when it comes to the Yom Tov itself. In general, throughout the year, when we're doing mitzvot, the person should feel simcha. But how much more so when we come to the Yom Tov, which is like the merkaz, the central place for all that simcha to get gathered. She'oz chayavin lismoach ma'od. We're chayav to be b'simcha. K'mo shekodev it says, v'samachta b'chagecha. Ki oz mitkabetz yachad hasimcha shel kol hamitzvot. Asher ein shiur ve'erech lesimcha azot. There is no measure to such a simcha. Kasher yavin kol echad belibo. That everyone can understand in his heart about what we're talking about. So that was one thing. So we see that Yom Tov is like the heart of the year, and it gathers all the simcha of the mitzvahs of the whole entire year. Okay, let's do another one. Let's go all the way to Zion. You see that at the bottom of the page? Al yedei kibud shalosh regalim keroi b'machal umishta, from honoring the Yom Tov properly, the shalosh regalim properly, with good food, with good drink, ubegadim noim, nice clothing, lefia cholta, everyone according to his measure, what they could do, ubekdushas v'taharas hamachshava, and according to, obviously, with holy intentions, in a pure way.
Interesting that he puts the gashmias first in the list.
Yeah, I mean, this is a piece from Likutei Moharan, I don't know in that piece if it discusses other things before it gets to this, but yeah, you should know when it comes to Yom Tov and Shabbos, Rabbeinu holds that all these things that we do for Yom Tov and Shabbos is like the Gashmis is Kulu Kaddish. It's Mamish Kulu Kaddish. He held it like Shabbos food. You're sticking your fork in a piece of herring. He holds that Mamish. You're holding Kedusha, with flavor. It's nice. But I'm saying it's Mamish holy. You have to know. It's like unbelievable. Like just like in Olam HaElyon when we go, Shabbos is Mein Olam Haba. When we go, we're going to be tasting different experiences of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So on Shabbat Kodesh, on a microcosm level, we go and we taste all these different foods. That's Mein Olam Haba. Within these foods, within these ingredients is infused, and that's why people say that the tzaddikim say when someone's preparing Shabbos food to say the words L'kavod Shabbos Kodesh, because those letters enter into the food. There's a big Rebbe once. He had his wife couldn't make the fish, gefilte fish, whatever it was. She couldn't make it, and some maid made the fish instead. So it comes to the tish, the tzaddik, he like tastes the fish and he was like, okay, thank you. And then the chassidim were like, why? He said because I could tell, I could see that it doesn't have the kedusha one, because when my wife makes it, she invests such kavanas into the food that I taste those kavanas. Even with the same ingredients, exactly the same fish, take it out of the freezer, But it was mamish. It's like a whole different fish.
It's just food, though.
With regarding food.
And can you say L'kavod Shabbos Kodesh when you buy the food?
Yes, it says in Sfarim also, when you're purchasing, at the time you're purchasing, that also infuses Kedusha into the food. Yeah, mamish.
Also when you're cleaning
like you
your
swipe
house.
the card, just mumble to yourself, just gonna be like, what? No, But yeah, the mamish, it infuses 100%. Anything you buy for Shabbos Yom Tov, clothing, anything you're buying that could be used on Shabbos and Yom Tov. You could say the words L'kavod Shabbos Yom Tov. You want to know, there's a tzaddik that held, the truth is, anything you do gets contributed into Shabbos, because just like our brother was saying, that when you come to Shabbos, sort of gathers also, like you build up the kedusha during the week, and it also there's an aspect of it getting gathered into that Shabbos, right? Because Shabbos is like you were saying, is aliyat ha'olamot. It's when all the worlds get uplifted. So there was a Rebbe, Rabbi Chaim Chernovitz, that held that anything you do during the week towards kedusha is l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh. Like he opened his Gemara on a Wednesday night, he'd be like l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh.
Right, I heard it only
that's
starts
why
on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Right,
maybe
Shabbos.
that's why it says Wednesday night when he would do it. But no, the truth is, every day when we count, we connect it to Shabbos, like Hayom Yom Rishon b'Shabbos, Sheni b'Shabbos. It's all a bechin of Shabbos. The Breslovers would say, when you do Hispodidus in the day, that's the bechin of the Shabbos of the day. Like everyone needs to remember Shabbos every day. So when you spend time with Hashem and you could push your phone aside, just be like, God, it's just me and you now. That's bechin of Shabbos.
On Wednesday, we end with L'chu Nerana, the Hayom.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we end with L'chu Nerana.
So it's already like you're welcoming Shabbos,
Yeah.
right? Beautiful, beautiful. We have to remember. And how much more so also when it comes to Yom Tov, when a person buys things and right, he's machabed the Yom Tov properly according to his ability. Uvetuv lev, right, and he does it with a good heart, with a good feeling, the kiyotze bezeh. Sharin yonei kedushas v'simchas Yom Tov. Everything that relates to Yom Tov, any preparations that's done for the holy day, for the holy Chag. Al yedei zeh zochen ledat et Hashem. Through these things, through these gashmiistic things, you zoche to come to know God.
One more time, you say that.
From the preparations that we do to be mechabed Yom Tov properly, with food, drink, nice clothing, these things, you come. It's like you come through this. The Rebbe says you come to understanding Hashem. It's huge. He's not really holding anything back. Not only to know Hashem, but to draw the knowledge of godliness into your heart. Maybe that connects back to what we were talking about. Okay, so this is amazing. First of all, by me, I just got from this. We have to know practically. What do I get from this? When I'm honoring the Yom Tov, two things. One, I'm getting ready in a few days from now to interact with the heart of joy for the whole year. We all want to be besimcha the whole year, right? There's 3 times in the year that's like the heart of the whole year, that pumps, that all the joy of the year, just like the blood, gets gathered into the heart, and it pumps it back into the rest of the year. These are the shalosh regalim.
So what do you have to do on those holidays to have joy the whole year?
So first thing that we're learning is, right, the next piece that we're learning is that by honoring the Yom Tov, simple stuff, like you're in a store, like you're buying kishmaka things to eat for like Shevout, you should know you're now making vessels to tap into this, to not only this simcha, but this awareness of Hashem, and to bring it into your life. It's an amazing thing that how in Judaism we take the most physical things, and these are used to bring the light of godliness into the world. It's amazing.
Even if you're not thinking about it at the moment, you're just going to buy it.
How much more so, he does say, how much more so if you invest also proper machshavot, right? Your heart, your mind. Like we were talking about saying something, say l'kavod Shabbos Kodesh, you can also say l'kavod Yom Tov, right? Like if you have it with that angle, how much more so? That's what, in a certain sense, like a lot of other religions don't go all this way, like mamish, like a lot of people wonder, like, hey, Jews, why do you Jews eat so much? You know what I'm saying? It's like, God like to drink, Jews like to eat, like mamish, because we're bringing it in kelim, we're bringing physical things, yes. It's tremendous light that's infused in these things. Now listen to this, it's amazing. You walk away from the Shiur, it's like such a powerful vart. Val yedeze metaknin, through this, by being mechabed the Yom Tov properly, metaknin shlosha midos ros. We fix the 3 main negative midot, negative attributes that bring down mankind. the main three. Here we go. Shehem, Ikar HaKol, which is the Ikar of everything, to work on these things. Vehem, and they are, behold, Tavas Mammon, desire for money, Tavas Mishkal, taiva for immorality, V'tavas Achila, and taiva for food. Yeah, here. Three things. These are the major pillars of taiva.
Money's the worst one, right?
Money,
Food.
the second one, and food.
No matter how much money you have, you're always looking for your next investment.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. It's always like that. It's like somebody was telling me that day. He's like working. The guy's a Breslover, but he's working in a firm. The guy comes up to him like one of the managers, and he says they're thinking about they make this amount of money, and they're thinking they want to expand it to this amount, right? So he gave him a whole speech. He said, you should know, money. He's like in Bulgaria they say, "Pul shamshire." Money is like a sword. If you have money, you could do anything. It was sick. The guy was like, "Are you serious? Like, it's really like this is how infected you are." It's almost nuts. It takes over one's mind. Like, that's the tachlis of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the chiyus. The Chofetz Chaim's mashal, the guy, he went overseas to make money. He told his wife and kids, I'm going, business trip's going to take like 2 years, 3 years. I'm going to come back. And he goes over there, and then, he heard about the country, that everything's made of gold and pearls, and he goes, and yeah, it's true. And then he wanted to go to a hotel, and he's like, how much is it? He's like, so they tell him, 3 bags, and then he takes out gold. No, what is this? Like, it's not worth anything here. So what do you accept? Oh, we accept, salt. We accept, you have salt? And he's like, no. And he's like, oh, so you're a poor man, buddy. So then he started washing dishes, getting a job. He started accumulating until Yitaka became rich, right? The famous thing. He became very wealthy, had bags of salt. It's not. He's a millionaire. And then he's like, now I'm ready to go home. Right? He comes back home, like, oh, my wife, look at all this wealth. And she's like, let me see. Bags of salt. What the heck is this? What'd you do? So what do you mean? He's like, over there, that's what's worth something. And she's like, honey, over there it's worth something. Over here it's not worth diddly. You know what I'm saying? The Chofetz Chaim says, what are we going to do? We're going to come to Olam Haba and be like, what did you gather for yourself? Well, I have this stock, I have this, that, these assets, this company, this, that. Like, it's not worth anything, bro. What do you have? What Torah Mitzvot do you have? How much time do you invest? To understand a piece of Gemara, to break your heart in front of Hashem, to say a little Tehillim, what do you have? You know what I mean? It's a scary thing. But what we're learning from here, from Rabbi Nachman, is that the Shalosh Regalim have a power to reduce these 3 ta'avot. Now listen to this. Every Chag takes care of one of these. You ready? Ki bechol regel nitzetaken mida achad mishalosh midot hanizkarat le'el. Everyone takes care of one of these. Hainu. Ready for this? Let's see which one's which. It's Kuf Ayin Dalet. It's the second page of our handouts. On the right column, like 3 lines down from the top. Third word. Ki b'chol regel, every single regel of the Shalosh Regalim, nitzatakin mida achat, one of these attributes, mishalosh mido the niskar le'el, gets fixed. Hainu. Let's see which one. Let's see which one's which. B'Pesach, nitzatakin tabat mamon. Money, Pesach, comes to like zap that. Okay, on whatever level. B'Shavuot, what gets fixed? Nitzatakin tabat mishka. The second one, immorality. If you think about it for a second, the whole Indian of Torah is love.
I understand the Pesach thing.
The whole Indian, it says Har Sinai beyom chatunato, beyom simchat libo, that on the day of your chasna, the day of your wedding, when you were united with Hashem. When was that? It says in the Medrash, that's talking about Matan Torah. When Hashem held a mountain over your heads, it was like a chuppah. It was like a chuppah. It was the most intimate time. When Hashem opened up all the heavens and He's like, I am Hashem your God. It was the most intimate time between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So we have to know that. We have to know that. And it fixes all these inyanim. You should know it has the power to fix the inyanim of pagama brit, to guard one's eyes, to be careful in these areas. How much the world is suffering from this test these days. That's probably one of the main test of our generation, is the area of brit, to be able to control oneself, to be able to to have kedusha in his life. So this Yom Tov is coming of Shevout to tackle that temptation. And besukot nitatakin tavat achila, and in Sukkot that comes against tavat achila. Al kain, therefore, Rabbi Nachman says, tzarich lizar me'od lechabed me'od et hashalosh regalim. Person has to be very careful to honor the three regalim. Kedei lezakot letzet mishalosh ta'avot. In order, you want to come out of the three ta'avot, start being mechabed the Yom Tov properly. Get ready. It's a Yom Tov. There's an ore that's coming into. There's a light that's coming into our lives that could take care of each regal, one of these three main desires. Right? We said money, right? Desire for immorality, and food. And this is Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Pesach is corresponding to money, and specifically Pesach because also, when we came out of Egypt, it says we emptied out Egypt from their wealth. But what does that mean? It means we emptied out that whole aspect of the desire for money. We emptied that out. It was just Hashem. We realized everything was Hashem. Everybody was just about Hashem, right? Even a lot of goyim. That was Pesach, Shavuot, which is the time of intimacy that we just spoke about us and Hashem. It's Am Yisroel, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, just being together, being united, and Hashem giving us the Torah, which is like the ketubah, right? And the Sukkot, really, I was thinking just. Because also, right, that's part of the halachot. You can't have a sudat kebbet. All this eating, everything has to be this. That's one of the main halachas. Even let's say Lubavitch that holds you could sleep outside the sukkah. Eating, they don't. No one holds you could eat. I mean, a snack you can. Remember, food we learn in class. Food, things like this. Like let's say, like less than a kibetza or fruit, right, shakal drinks. But there are some tzaddikim that are careful that everything should be eaten in the sukkah. Some people even try water.
Do women have to eat in the sukkah?
Women are patur for mitzvahs of zman grama. So not because that they're not they're like spiritually they're so holding that they don't need the mitzvahs that are time bound. They're beyond time. But that's the Bukhari version. Anyway, okay, fine. The al yedei zochin lahashpot and wow, look at this. It's amazing. Wait, I think I skipped 1 second. Right. Kedei lezakot letzet mishalosh tavot ra'ot nizkar le'el shekol ikar hayahadut. The whole basics of Judaism has to do with what? Talui betikon shalosh tavot elu. Has to do with fixing these three things, these three main desires: money, immorality, and food. You have to check yourself. Where am I holding in these areas? When you do it, when you talk in front of Hashem, where am I holding? Am I a dog that constantly is just yearning for the next, burger? Or can I control myself? You know what the Ben Ish Chai says? We said it one week. The Ben Ish Chai says, when there's hot food in front of you, and you're drooling, you're ready to dive in. If you could wait for 60 seconds, that's it. 1 minute, you could say, you know what? To control your tavat achila, your desire for the food, for 60 seconds, you could harness yourself. He says, Al pi Kabbalah, it's nechshav ki'ilu tanit bechol yom. That you fasted the whole entire day. That day was a fast day. It was amazing. You could do that. Kaparat avonot, for kaparat avonot.
A smorgasbord.
Can you imagine a smorgasbord? You go to a wedding, it's hot. Everyone's looking to kill. It's like you're at war. The different angles. You hold the plate. You're waiting for the guy to move. When's he gonna move? You know what I mean? It's not it's like you feel it. It's retzicha in there. It's nuts.
These three things: eating, money, and relations.
Yeah.
This is what the world revolves around.
Right.
In order for the world to go on, you have to have money.
Understood.
In order to live, you have to eat.
Very good point.
In order to have another generation, you have to have relations. So
it's not something you can run away from.
Right.
It's something you're going toward it because it's inevitable.
Right. Remember.
The only thing is, what intentions
Ah.
are you having going through it?
It's key.
It's like saying you gotta live.
You know, like the Gemara says.
Well, how are you gonna live?
Remember, the Gemara tried to remove the desire for relations, right? And they said, what did it say? It said that they didn't find
Eggs for breakfast.
They didn't find eggs for breakfast. They didn't find eggs. That's it. They saw that they were like, whoa, we just rewired mankind. Like, we can't do that. So it has to, So you're right. It's necessities, but these things to uplift them. That's what Hashem wants from us. To have a kavana, Yeah, desire food. You know what I mean? But lekavod Shabbat, lekavod Yom Tov. You really want to get into like the shmak and Shabbos, Yom Tov. During the week they have control, have some sort of level of control. How much more so, unfortunately we probably eat a lot of things that's probably not healthy for us. Because it's just tasty. You know what I'm saying? Like in America, like the average the average thing we hold, you don't know what you're holding. Genetically modified or GMO, you know what that is?
Yeah.
It's sick, crazy. You think you're holding an apple? You don't know what's in there. It's unbelievable. How much but a lot of things we have to. It takes das. It takes real work. Rabbi Nachman says if you think about the taiva of immorality, also if you think with a little seichel, you can get over this taiva. He says it's such a petty thing, and America's made it out to like a whole avodah zarah. You know what I'm saying? Person can control himself, and yeah, enochanami, we're at war. It was never like this before. The Yidden should walk around like this in the streets with this garbage and trash in the streets like this. How much we're being tested, and you know what the Svarim, what Rav Arla says? I've told this.